relationship between health and the environment, pretty relevant when you consider what we just heard. So please give a hand to Keith Ippel, the General Partner at Spring Impact Capital, and Marta Pahissa Espluga, Head of Environmental Transformation at DKV Insurance. Please give them a hand.
Should we test our mics?
Yes, sure. Can you hear us?
Good morning, everybody. It's great to see you here. I'm really looking forward to this fireside chat with Marta. Marta is probably the most prepared person I've ever seen for a fireside chat. So there will be a test at the end, in case you're wondering.
Because I'm from Barcelona and I have to have my speech written down in English, because if not, I will communicate a mess. That's why I have my papers, not because I'm well organized.
Exactly.
Thank you, Keith. Anyway.
So maybe we can kick things off. Would love for you to share just who you are and what you do, and maybe just talk a little bit about in what you do, how you intersected the relationship of environment and health.
Yeah, great. Well, I'm Marta Pahissa. I'm an environmental scientist, and I work for DKV. It's an insurance company based in Spain, as you maybe are aware of. And we belong to Ergo Group, which is a German group, and Ergo belongs to Munich Reinsurance Company, which is the top global reinsurance company in the world. In any case, in DKV Spain, we try to develop products and services because we are a health insurance company. And since a few years ago, we understood the link between health and climate and environment because, well, for different reasons, but as WHO, the World Health Organization, sustained, we have to understand the climate emergency as a health crisis, and we also understand environmental sustainability as an innovation driver. And that's what I would like to talk with Keith, who is an expert with these ideas. Keith, who are you? Can you explain a little bit about you?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Spring. Spring is a Vancouver-based organization that exists to change the world through innovation. And we work at the intersection of early-stage impact entrepreneurship and early-stage impact capital. So we have an incubator and accelerator. We also have a national impact investor network. And we have an early-stage impact venture capital fund that sits at the intersection of people and planetary health. And so for us, what we see is a very tight correlation between how we look at and how we try and improve the environment, as well as how we're trying to improve health outcomes for people. And so that's an active area that we've been in. Just for everybody's reference, Spring has offices in Vancouver and Toronto, but we've also worked in about 35 communities around the world. And have had the very good fortune of supporting a number of ventures through early stages into growth. Yeah.
Fantastic, Keith. So regarding our second question that we have, how are your company addressing this relationship between the environment and health, specific actions that maybe you are taking to do this?
Yeah, so one of the things that actually you and I were talking about in advance for everybody was that if we all look back 7 years ago, we would have seen that most investors would never touch a hardware company. However, when we look at environmental solutions and health solutions, so often hardware is a critical component to doing that. So one example I will give everybody is there's a startup called UVX, and UVX has created a device, small device that you can fit in your hand. You can bolt it onto a wall or onto the ceiling, and it pulls pathogens out of the air like COVID. And so it's a great example of the use of hardware combined with software to find solutions. And so one of the key roles that we play at Spring is to try and really open up the opportunity for investors to look at hardware companies or hardware software companies as great investment opportunities, especially where there's not a lot of capital expenditure or CapEx involved. And so that's a really critical component. So we do that in two ways. One is we have an accelerator program for those companies. And then we also do investor training. And so we have one program in particular called the Impact Investor Challenge. And it's a 10-week program to walk 35 investors through a process of selecting one or more ventures for investment. We do a lot of hardware companies through their hardware software companies. We really help investors to understand the process of due diligence and the opportunity that is underlying within that. So that's one of the key things that we do.
Nice. So then from our side,
Yeah.
to embark in this environmental transformation process, we had to broaden our perspective to commit beyond the carbon tunnel vision that sometimes the corporates have, to look beyond only CO2, look beyond only carbon, because as you are all aware of, environment is much more complex, and to develop this systemic vision or this systemic perspective helps a lot us to understand and to create these opportunities. So we know for our 2 million customers, the environment is becoming, or sustainability is becoming a hygiene factor. I mean, taking no action is not an option anymore.
Correct.
But however, using this sustainability for differentiation purposes needs this authentic and company-wide implementation. Activism should be real, not just a brand positioning. That's why we are moving from the CSR traditional departments to the business departments. We are translating the environmental discourse into action, but not only planting trees. It's important to plant trees, but not only planting trees, but to transforming or translating the environmental discourse into solutions and projects, and products, because this is what we sell. And for example, just the last June, we launched a solution embedded in our health systems application, the healthcare application that our insured customers use to talk to the doctors or this type of traditional services or health digital services. And we added something that I think is pretty cool, we're talking about, something that's called Nature Dose. So it's a solution, it's an algorithm that we created. And actually I would like to mention that a small company from Valencia, Green Urban Data, helped us to build this solution. And this Nature Dose solution is calculating with an algorithm the time you spend in green, in nature. So with this idea, we are creating a healthy habit or healthy lifestyle for our customers, because as you can imagine, the most important thing from our business department is to keep as healthy as possible our customers. So promote them healthy habits like spend time in nature is also that's interesting for the business department. Of course, it's interesting for the CSR department and sustainability vision, but we have to understand that moving from CSR to business makes a lot of sense, and it's a lot of coherence with a discourse.
Yeah. It's really interesting in what you just shared, especially for the investors in the room, is that your investment thesis as an insurance company is evolving, right? So we all would have expected a health insurance company to invest in health tech, right? But the idea of investing in pattern of behavior change, in lifestyle, I think is an example of how you evolve over time. And I think all of us as investors, whether we're individual investors or we're venture capital funds or we are corporations, I think that all plays out. And it kind of leads me to my next question for you, which is, you gave a great example of something you've been investing in. What are some of the areas or some of the problem spaces that you're looking to invest in right now and or looking to partner in, either with other corporates or with entrepreneurs or investors?
I would say that sometimes we have to not raise the awareness. I think this is something from the 90s. The awareness is already there. I think we have to raise the culture. Right. We have to evolve from environmentalism is recycling or picking waste from the beaches. We have to do that, of course, but we have to raise the culture, the environmental culture, inside our own companies. We were discussing before.
Right.
If you hire a lawyer for your legal department, if you hire an engineer for your IT department, you have to hire an expert for your sustainability department.
Right.
And we're also talking about that, to understand sustainability as digital transformation. This environmental transformation is like the digital transformation that we have been during the last 20 years. The top one digital companies or companies in the world right now, Apple or Alphabet or whatever, they understood as digital or digitalization as a context, not as a channel or as a product or as it's a context. We have to understand also sustainability or environment as a context, because if we just narrow our vision and understand sustainability as a product or as a something that is being done or is a duty, then we are losing a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
No?
You know, it's interesting, right? I think it's very important for the entrepreneurs that are in the room to hear that message, because as we go through this process, it's so easy to say, here's my product, invest in my product, or here's my product, buy my product. But at the same time, it is about the context, right? What is the larger play, especially for a corporate partner like yourself? You know, I think for us at Spring, right now, there's a few things that we're looking at in our particular world. One is at that real core intersection between environment and health. So, you know, a lot of this leads into clean drinking water, which includes, for example, removing microplastics. In addition to that, clean air is definitely a key piece. Pattern of behavior change, the lifestyle changes that we talk about, these are some key areas that we're looking at right now. The final piece that I would say, which actually, especially with the algorithm that you were talking about, and being out in nature, I think what's really critical for us right now is mental health.
Oh, yeah.
And supporting, you know, consumers in the marketplace with the right mental health solutions at the right time, which actually can be manifested either in a corporate environment or in a retail environment. So I think those are a couple of other areas that we play in.
Yeah, following your thread, I think that a concept that helped us a lot to understand these linkages between and to find opportunities, and I think it's something that maybe can be useful for startups or entrepreneurs, is to understand the concept of exposome.
Right.
It comes from from a scientist that developed the concept of human genome, and they understood that the burden of illnesses, the burden of mortality from humanity, doesn't, a certain percentage is because of our genome, but a certain percentage is because the environmental exposures. I'm sure you are aware of the health determinants or determinants of health, but also the exposome. The exposome is the amount of environmental exposures that since you are born until you die, you are exposed to. And it has to do with noise, with pollution, with green, with different external exposome, and also the personal exposome. And the personal exposome is the healthy habits, actually, no? And also the external exposome and the personal exposome has biological responses in our health. So to also point not only the healthcare assistance, but point the environment where our customers live, it's really interesting for us, and that's why we selected only 4 territories in this exposome. At DKV, we try to, we will support everything that is good for the environment, of course, or positive for the environment, but we selected only 4 territories where we can act, where we can provide solutions for our customers. And these 4 territories that come from this exposome concept are climate emergency, of course, nature exposure, indoor air pollution, because the pollution is very important for the health, of course, but we cannot change the pollution in the streets of our customers, but we can help to change the indoor air of our customers. That's why we are focusing only in indoor air pollution. So I use this opportunity to call if there are any any entrepreneurs or startups developing solutions related to indoor air pollution. Please talk with me today, because we are interested in developing solutions to evolve our insurance products. And finally, chemical toxics. This is our 4 territories that we selected, and with these territories we are developing solutions like the one I mentioned, like nature does.
So first, I want to give you credit, because it's very important for any organization, venture capital fund, frankly, an individual angel investor, and a corporate to be very clear about your impact thesis. Yeah. And so I think it was great that you're able to articulate the 4 critical areas that you're in. One thing I want to highlight is this is also an example for a lot of us in the room to think about how we can engage with corporates. So one of the things that you and I found out very early on is we as a venture capital fund, you as a corporate, we both align on indoor pollution. And so we were actually talking about a specific company. In this context, it's a company called Origin Air, which is stripping pollution out of indoor air. But it is important to remember that partnerships and collaboration can come from places we don't normally expect. And I think that that's a really important part. So I really love how you created the call to action here for that. But you are, as an insurance company, you're taking a very unique approach in how active you are in developing innovation to address these 4 topics. Tell me a little bit about, or tell us a little bit about the process by which your organization decided to lean in that hard versus, say, just investing in companies.
It took some time, let me say. But we have 2 principles with this environmental transformation. We go from protecting the environment to design environmental health services because we are selling insurances. So it doesn't make any sense to develop things next to the insurance. No, we sell insurance, we have to focus in our products. Then we go from compensating our carbon footprint to create positive impact, from signatories to active players, and from being observers to getting involved in innovation ecosystems. And this is maybe the more important pillar or principle here, because we talk a lot with research centers, with scientists. We have to understand the scientists. They are eager to translate their own papers, their own research into something, no? Into a solution, we talk a lot with epidemiologists here in Spain and from other universities around the world, and from them they learn a lot, and this is how we create this concept or this environmental transformation inside our company. Yeah. But we need also your organization, no? This type of observers, no? That can identify and can connect to the innovation ecosystems around the world, no? And because it's not easy, no? We are also talking about it's not easy to find these startups that properly link health and environment, properly in the sense that useful for a corporate somehow.
Well, and it's interesting, right? Because one of the things that you're talking about is there's 2 ways to invest for impact. One is to do place-based investing, right? So I invest in Valencia, I invest in Spain. But when we start to talk about sector or thematic, right? So indoor pollution, patterns of lifestyle, health tech. We were talking earlier about connecting patients with clinical trials. Yep. When we as investors choose to go sector or theme, it allows us to break geography, right? And I think your call is a very important call where you say, hey, this is why we need organizations like each other or investors or entrepreneurs that are in the room to actually share the opportunity, to share the problem spaces, to share the companies that are doing amazing things. This probably leads us quite effectively into a call to action for the audience. And so for me, one thing that I would like to say to everybody is, we as Spring, we have a national early stage impact fund in Canada. We have a network that is now a national impact investor network that is now going global. We've done global work with incubation acceleration. One of the core reasons why I'm here is to connect with people like yourself, with organizations like you, because we do get an opportunity to share a common investment thesis. We get an opportunity to share ideas. I think for me, the important part here for everybody is you really want to try and meet 5 to 10 people here today that you've never spoken before, to share those opportunities, to share what you're seeing, the patterns of behavior, to share interesting companies, to share investors who are investing in those spaces, because that's actually how we're going to lift all the boats, right? And so, and by the way, that was not a pun because of the boats outside, but it's, it is really a great opportunity for us to actually work collaboratively to create positive impact. So what call to action would you give everybody?
Oh, definitely. Maybe you will never imagine that you can be a provider for an insurance company, but you could, because we are changing. We are understanding our business differently. And as you said, no, Keith, I would say that maybe all the audience here, 90%, 99% of the audience here is here not only because of the profit, but also because of the people and because of the planet. So these 3 Ps are already there. So to scale up solutions is crucial. I mean, we will all agree with that, no? That to share conversations, to share projects, to scale up solutions that are needed and urgent and that can create a better society and a better planet for all of us is what unites all of us here, I would say. And our call to action is that please maybe you never imagined that you can be a provider for an insurance company or for another type of corporate, but you could, because we are changing. And together we can imagine and reinvent solutions and services that can help us all.
Yeah.
And saying that that's enough.
Yeah.
So thanks for your
Very
time.
quick final call to action. If any of you in the room are thinking about getting more active in impact investing or exploring a specific thesis area like the intersection of environment and health, highly recommend you connect with the Social Nest team. They're doing some really incredible things around catalyzing the investor community and investor education. So final call to action. And I think you're ready to take us off stage. Amazing.
Thank you.